Hey guys, welcome to Daily Bible Study. We're so glad that you decided to join us today. I hope that you're doing well on this Monday. Our chapters today were Numbers 19, 20, and 21, and they're primarily going to focus on the waters of Meribah, right? And I want to look at this concept of trusting in the midst of the trial. So, what do we find happening here in this moment? Well, in the midst of the wilderness, as the Israelites are wandering, this narrative kind of unfolds for us. And so among these various events, there's an incident at Meribah, and that kind of stands out as a testament to faith, obedience, and even the consequences of our actions before God. And so let's look at it. In Numbers 20, the Israelites find themselves once again facing the dire scarcity of water. Their distress leads to a cacophony of complaints against Moses and Aaron, and it echoes their perennial struggle with faith. Now, in response, what does God do? God instructs Moses to speak to a rock, promising to bring forth water. But in a moment of frustration, which is not uncommon for us in our lives, Moses strikes the rock twice with his staff, and water does flow, but this is kind of an act of disobedience that we see Moses kind of participating in, and it cost him dearly. And it cost him the denial of entry into the promised land. You may be thinking, that's harsh. Why would God do that, right? Why would he do that? Well, I think the text is intentional about showing us how serious God is about obedience. So what are the lessons from the rock? Well, the first thing we see here is a test of faith. So at Meribah, the Israelites' faith was tested. And I think if we're to draw any kind of application from that for our lives today, we similarly face our own Meribahs. We face moments of need. We face moments of desperation. The question is not if, but how we will respond in those moments. And so, will we respond with faith, trusting in God's provision, or will we give in to fear and doubt? I think that matters, how we face our test, because obedience matters. So Moses' actions remind us how we obey God matters. It's not just about the outcome, right? The water, right? Moses could have said, well, God, water came out, so what's the big deal? Because his heart and the attitude in the process matters. And so in Moses' case, there was a partial obedience. And in that regard, we need to understand partial obedience as disobedience in God's eyes. So what does God do? He has every right to just do away with all this. But he shows grace even in the failure. So despite Moses' mistake, God still provided water for his people. And that demonstrates God's unwavering commitment to meet our needs, even when we falter. His grace covers our shortcomings and ensures his purposes are fulfilled. And so the stories that we read here, and the story of the waters of Meribah, invite us to reflect on our trust in God, especially in times of trial. It challenges us to examine our obedience to his commands, not just in action, but in spirit. And it reassures us of his grace, which flows as abundantly as the waters from the rock, even in our moments of weakness. And so as we journey through our wilderness, as all of us are on some sort of a journey, my prayer is that we can do so with a faith that speaks instead of strikes, trusting in the one who leads us to living waters. My prayer today is that God would give us the grace to respond to our challenges with obedience, and that we would continue to hold fast to the promise that God is with us, and he's providing for us every step of the way. Appreciate you guys for being with us today. I hope that you be blessed.